people costs a lot of money. So, as does dropping this camera. So, I just want to start with one time.
You guys go 9:30.
Okay, thank you. This stat really blew me away as I was putting together a presentation for you guys today. And this really says it all. It's from the U.S. Department of Labor. More than half of America's young people leave school without the knowledge or foundation to find or hold a good job. Now, that's a very disturbing stat, but it's also a very positive one for you guys, because if you can develop those skills, learn those skills, whether it's through school, parents, friends, stuff you do outside of school, that can really set you apart and really differentiate you from other people. You're going to use that word a lot, differentiation, because quite honestly, that's what people look for. Right now, with the economy the way it is, I have more people apply to me than I can possibly even process. So what do I look for? I look for someone that I can, what's a differentiator? What kind of work ethic do you have? How friendly are you going to be with the people that you work with and with my customers? We have a really small store. It's only about 13 people that work for me, and it's really important. They're like family, and I don't say that to be cliche. I'm serious. I owe it to them, to the people that work for me, who've been working for me for years, to bring in quality people. I don't want to bring someone in off the street that is going to work for 3 months and then be gone. It's going to cause more damage than not hiring anyone at all. I'd be better off just going short-staffed and paying the people I have work with me more. How many of you have been out looking for part-time work, working right now? Okay. Hard out there? Are you seeing how difficult it is to get a job? Again, I don't say that to scare you. It's just, it is what it is, but it's good to know when you're out looking, whether it's now, 10 years down the road, you don't want to fool yourself into thinking that, oh, it's better than it is. You want to be realistic about it so you can game plan what you need to do to prepare yourself. You know, if you don't have the right amount of education, you don't have the skill set, you want to go ahead and get that, or at least learn how to portray that in an interview setting. The bad news of that stat is that someone does make up those stats. That stat about 50% of people not being prepared for the workplace. So you have to decide today, tomorrow, next week, which end of that spectrum do you want to be? Do you want to be the person who ran into someone yesterday? Pharmaceutical sales rep, she was a great customer of mine, kind of dropped off the face of the earth, ran into her at the supermarket literally yesterday afternoon, and I almost didn't recognize her. We got to talking, and she said she got laid off in April. Company's just downsizing, sales are down, she wasn't doing anything she shouldn't have been doing. From what I gather, she was extremely productive, obviously not productive enough for them to keep her, but she's still looking. This is a person who's been in the industry for 15 years, and sales reps, specifically pharmaceutical sales reps, bring in a lot of money for the company. So, again, just to be something aware of. Today, I want to go, what I was asked to go over for you guys is just a bunch of skills that employers look for, and why. And then you guys want to go back and think about those skills. They're going to vary with every job. You guys are going to be good at some, okay at some, terrible at some, and you have to determine it based on what kind of job you want, if they're important or not. Because every time when you're interviewing or looking for a job or networking or talking to your friends, family about work, you have to find out, what is how are you going to market yourself? How are you going to network yourself to get that job? What are you trying to portray? You can't be everything to everyone. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Strengths and weaknesses. This is a question, for those of you that have already interviewed, how many of you have gotten that, what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses question? Okay. It's a very, very generic question, but it's really important because for several reasons. One, the employer wants to know what they're getting. Do you have a strong work ethic? Are you good on the phone? If you're going to work selling mobile phones to someone part-time, you got to be able to talk to people. You got to be friendly. No one's going to buy anything from somebody that they don't like. I'm sure statistics show all you guys have cell phones. When you went to go buy your cell phone, if it wasn't a gift, if you went to go buy it, and it's the exact same phone, the exact same price, who are you more likely to buy a phone from? Somebody that you like, that treats you with respect at a store, Or when you walk in, someone that is in a bad mood, fighting with their boyfriend the night before, looks terrible, hasn't slept, and is treating you poorly. It's kind of a no-brainer. Obviously, you're gonna buy it from the person that's taking care of you, is treating you well. So figure out what your strengths are. You know, do you want a job where you are on the phone? Do you like face-to-face interactions better? Do you like working in a big workplace, small workplace? Do you like working outdoors? Do you not want to work in an office? Think about it. Talk to people. Read about different jobs. You have the luxury now before you get a job to really figure out what it is that you want. So think about what your strengths are and why they're strengths. If you talk to an employer and you say something like, I like to talk on the phone, or I'm really good at it, and you follow up with, well, I talk to my girlfriends 4 hours a day. Well, that's not really valuable to an employer. But if you tell them, I really like to talk on the phone, I'm a good communicator, and I'm good at helping people get what they want, get what they need, or giving them good service, that's valuable to an employer. On the flip side, weaknesses. It's tough for me to always get in a good mood, and sometimes it affects how I am throughout the day. It's just a typical one people might say. When you give a weakness in a job interview, and please do not say, I have no weaknesses. That is like interview killer 101. I've actually seen people, when that's been said in an interview, the interviewer just say, okay, thank you for your time, and cut off the interview. Everyone has weaknesses. Figure out what yours are and work on them. That's what the key is. Not to just say, oh, I'm never on time for work. Oh, I have a lousy work ethic. That doesn't help you. Figure out what your weaknesses are. If it's pertinent to the job, don't give a laundry list. One is fine, but then come up with what it was. Come up with what it is. Myself, I like to do too many things. I like to control too much. So working in the industry I work in the restaurant industry, and then in the hotel industry specifically, you can't do everything. You can't be there every hour of the day. I needed to let that go. And so how did I do that? I learned how to train my employees to trust them, and it's been much more beneficial. They enjoy working with me a lot more, and I get more productivity out of them, and I'm not at the restaurant or at the hotel 24/7. Just a small example of turning a weakness into a strength. By the way, if you guys have any questions, anything to interject, feel free. I'm not going to turn to a Q&A section, but I'd rather be able to feed off what you guys need. Then this isn't just about me. I'm here for you guys. This isn't about me hearing my own voice. So persistence is something that you're going to hear a lot. In fact, the last talk I told you I gave at Life Skills in Akron, it was a interview attitude class. And the teacher really wanted me to talk about persistence and hammering employers. If they call you and they say, we're going to call, if you talk to them, they say, we're going to call you in 2 days. And if they don't call you in 2 days, call them in 3 days. Well, that's fine and well and good, and there's nothing wrong with persistence. Persistence is very valuable, but timing is also important too. Okay? Give you an example of bad persistence. So a woman who applied for a job, lost her job, who was a single mother. It was kind of a tragic story. I didn't know her from anything, but she walked in and had the attitude as if I owed her a job. That is how she portrayed herself. That was how her persistence came across. It was extremely negative. I have, on the flip side, I have someone that works for me now, who they work, customer of mine maybe once every other month, happen to need a part-time job, just a college freshman, going to school in the area, looking to pick up a few hours. Hey Mike, do you think you might need a few hours here and there? Sure, fill an application. If I need you, I'll give you a call.